first example. This lesson is about the direct variation. I want you to read about the packaging company, and then we're going to complete number 1. All right, so I'm going to kind of zoom in, and I want you to look right here at your number of boxes. So if you notice at 0 boxes, the height, would be 0 because the boxes wouldn't be there. But if you have 1 box, the height would be 10. 2 boxes is 20. So if you follow that pattern, you should have this table filled out. So check your table and make sure you've gone up to 70. Then you should have graphed it. If you were to connect your dots, what do you notice the kind of line would be? It's going to be linear, so do that, please. Because the more boxes you have, the height could increase. It is linear. Okay, now what we're going to do is I want you to come down to number 2, 3, and 4. Because this is a real-world situation, we've practiced domain and range. First off, I want you to write the function, and then within that function, like the equation, tell me what the domain would probably be in set notation, that set builder notation, and then same for range. All right, so check your answers to 2, 3, 4. Make sure you've got your domain and range in order, and number 5. Number 5, you should actually label what each part represents. We've already done this in a previous question. I just want to make sure that you understand which part is which. Because in a previous question, we named one of these a B and one of these an H. I'm extra. Y'all have to know this by now, that I always answer stuff before I'm actually supposed to answer it. So that's basically what we did before. What is this Y value equivalent to? The height of the stack. So we called that H in that previous question. So I'll just underline the H. Okay, what did the X represent? The number of boxes. And I called that B in the previous question. So I'm going to underline that B so you can understand. I'm going to use H equals 10B so you'll know what each part represents. Okay, describe any patterns that you notice in the table and graph representing your function. Okay, I want you. All right, so check number 6. Make sure you got all your patterns. Here is the big deal right now. Let's go back to number 5, the y equals 10x. Everybody come over here to your notes and write y equals 10x. Let me make that darker. Okay, what is the only number that I actually know right now? 10. So if I was to, quote unquote, isolate the 10, what would I have to do? Divide by x to both sides. X's cancel. Notice. Y divided by x. That's why it's called directly proportional. That's why it's called direct variation. Okay, because it's constantly correct when you divide. Okay, answering number 7. Use that proportion to determine the height of a stack of 12 boxes. So write your proportion and solve. What proportion did you use? Do you all remember how to set up a proportion? Like, this is so 6th grade. Come on, bring it back. Well, I was thinking, okay, if you know 1 box, do we know 1 box? Okay, what's 1 box? Let's go back. 1 box was 10. Okay, so when you do cross products, you should get 120 equals x. So what does that mean? One box. All right, so looking through here, now let's explain why the value of k cannot be equal to 0. Why would you not want your slope or your constant of variation to be 0?
Because it would just be
right, that means nothing is varying at that point in time, and you would just have a straight line. So basically, if I plugged in 0, y equals 0x, everything would be equivalent to 0. So 0 equals 0. And so that should not happen. That won't vary. I'm just going to write will not vary. and that's why it can't be the constant of variation. Write an equation for finding the constant of variation by solving the equation y equals kx for the k. Okay, isolate the k, which is your slope basically, and we did this up there I think in number 6. So what would you do? Divide by x to both sides. And what is your end result? Equals k. So therefore, everything should vary by dividing. And that variation should all be constant. Everything should be constantly divided by 10, or this is not directly variating. Directly variating a word? I don't know. Just made it up. Yeah, that too. All right, let's go to number 10. Interpret the meaning of the point 0, 0 in your table and graph. Okay, so when you have 0 boxes equals a 0 height. Nothing. So true or false? Explain your answer. The graphs of all direct variation lines are lines that pass through the point 0, 0. True or false? Equals kx. So what did the k actually stand for? Okay, so could we not, if we were so back in 8th grade, do y equals mx? Same concept, correct? All right, what does this mean? Does that mean it's going to go through the origin?
Yes, that one does. Right? No?
Okay, what does y equals mx plus b mean?
It starts above the origin, so it won't go through.
Okay, that one has a y-intercept other than 0 because it's written. So talk to me again about why they just wrote y equals mx. Because it goes through the origin. So the answer is true. It will always go through the origin because there is no plus b. There's no plus b variable. Therefore, no y-intercept other than the origin. There is, but other than the origin. Takes a while to write. Okay. C, identify the slope and y-intercept in the graph of the stacking boxes. Okay, talk to me about what was the slope? 10. What per what? Centimeters per box. And then what is your y-intercept? 0. Origin. Because, remember, y'all literally told me in A that 0 boxes equaled 0 height. D, describe the relationship between the constant. Okay, let's underline that. What's the difference between the constant of variation and the slope? None. They're the same thing. Okay? And that was the whole goal. Can you actually realize that slope is the reason why things are constantly varying? Okay, so this is just something to build upon in algebra. In 8th grade, you're supposed to learn about slope, and then now you're supposed to understand why slope is occurring the way it does, because there is a variation there, and that's the reason why the slope is there. Okay, so now we're going to come down to 11, and I want you to try to answer number 11, then I'll check back. Here we go. 11A, find the value of k. So what should you have learned? This says the box varies directly. Box that, because that's what you're going to see on EOC. You're going to see this type of wordage. It'll say something varies directly with something. If you see that it varies directly, what do you know about y in comparison to x? There we go. Y over x will equal your k. So now I just have to decide which one of those is my y, which one of those is my x. According to the situation, I should know that. Okay, so, and it says the height is y. So there's that. Box is x. Okay, so talk to me about what the y value would be. Over 25 boxes will equal my k. Therefore, what does k equal? k equals 20. It says explain how you found your answer. How did you know that? I'm looking for a word. 3 words, actually. Constant of. Okay, because let's go back up to it. It should be in blue somewhere. Which page? Here it is. Constant of variation. You know that 500 divided by 25 will be your k because it will constantly vary. Y will constantly vary by k. Did I say that right? Y constantly varies by x. Sorry. Okay, so looking back here. B, write a direct variation equation. Here we go. Box it. Direct variation equation that relates y to the height of the stack x to the number of boxes. Okay, so what would it be? Y equals what? What was your slope? 20x. Okay? And C, if you know that now, what is the height of a stack of 20 boxes? Where would you plug in 20 boxes at? So write y equals 20 times 20 boxes and tell me what the height will be. Good, centimeters. There you go. Good. Is that why y'all needed a calculator? 20 times 20? No. The answer is no. All right. I want you to try it again. Number 12. Do A and B. Go. Check with someone around you if needed. Okay, 12A. Write a direct variation equation, so box that relates your wages to the number of hours you worked each week. So when you go up here, you get paid once a week. 1 week you earn 48 for 8 hours of work, and then another one you earn 30 for 5 hours. Talk to me about your equation. Y equals what? 6x. And then it says, explain the meaning of each variable and identify the constant of variation. Okay, what's the Y mean? Okay, money. What is the X? Hours. And what is the constant of variation? 6 is the constant of variation. I just had to abbreviate there. Which another word for constant of variation is slope. So I'm just going to do this right here so you'll remember. How much then could we solve for 3.5 hours in 1 week? Yes, the answer is yes. Okay, where would you plug in 3.5 hours? So y equals 6 times 3.5, which is $21. There we go. All right, check your understanding. Let's see, is there a practice? I believe there is. Okay, so what I want to do right now is do the check your understanding with you, and then I'm going to let y'all do the practice kind of with the people around you, and then we'll check our answers. Okay, 13, go. All right, tell me which ones, okay, very important here. Let me underline, circle, direct variation. Which one is directly varying? Okay, is A? No, why? Because it doesn't go through the origin. B? Yes, there's 2 reasons why. 1, yes, it goes through the origin, but what else? It varies at a constant rate. So check, check. So circle B. C. Okay, now I did something. I did the slope on the table. So it went plus 12 on the y's, plus 2, but I need to know if it's directly proportional or not. So you need to follow that pattern and go backwards. Is it going to be directly proportional? Yes. So circle C. It is constantly varying and it's directly proportional. Go to D. Okay, same thing. I said plus 4 on the y's, plus 2 on the x's. Now follow that pattern back though to see if it is directly proportional. Is it? No. So this is not going to be, so no, don't pick that one. All right, it does vary constantly but does not go through the origin. E. Yes, because it's in the form of y equals kx. F? No, because there is a y-intercept. Therefore, it does look like it's constantly varying, but it doesn't go through the origin. All right. What are y'all thinking? You think you got this lesson practice without me? All right, go, and then I'm going to check. All right, check your answers here, and if you have any